Hey, everybody, welcome to Each on News. We've got Likky and Beata, and we're going to be talking about some interesting things that is not technical stuff, not IT stuff, but the soft skills that you need in this world to actually do better in your MSP and your vendor business. So, Likky and Beata, first of all, let's start with Beata. Can you introduce yourself about what it is you do exactly, and then we'll jump to Likky.
Yeah, what we're trying to do with people is literally try to create awareness, to find who you are within yourself, how you apply yourself to daily life, how it go and transpires to your leadership, how to be a better leader, how to calibrate between certain emotions and feelings, as well as what does leadership means. Many topics on empathy, many topics um, on the soft skills, right?
Mm.
Um, who I am, the background is just in a brief. I came from Europe, being a professional athlete, competed quite a lot. It kind of gave me the degree of perseverance, the leadership, the self-care, the self-discipline, and passion for life, and enabled me to travel and explore this side of the world, where I started to enhance myself with further education, done a few degrees in the business spectrum, and that kind of led me to open up a few companies and organizations, being a founder, from engineering to wellness, as well as to being just contributing for charities and well-being in society, and be a participant in community. And in the last 2 years, we combined force with Likky, and we just wanted to engage in such a way that has a positive impact. And that's our mission. We want to show the world that there is not just, it should not be just success and transactional driven. There's more to it than that.
For sure. So, Beata, what was your sport? What was your specialty?
I was a competitive swimmer, and I was butterfly and breaststroker. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was in track and field. I finished being competitive javelin thrower.
Wow. So quite a few things. Be careful, Likky. You can throw
I know.
javelins.
I
Um,
know. I'm always watching
Likky,
out.
and you, tell us a bit about you. I know a bit about your background, but give us the brief story and how you got here.
Thanks, Julian. It's been wonderful working with you over the years. My background is IT, actually. I had an MSP for 25 years. I created an MSP before the word MSP was actually even around. And it's been an interesting journey. When I sold my IT company 25, I was actually 10 years ago now, started realizing what I learned about those 25 years. And the biggest thing I learned when I sold was that I was a pretty crappy leader, and hurt a lot of employees on the way, a lot of customers on the way, a lot of vendors on the way. Not in a bad way, but it was my lack of self-awareness that caused friction. And so I took some time off to realize, what do I need to do to grow? And I quickly realized that the stresses of the IT world were put on you. And, we're all going through these things right now, especially with the turmoil that's occurring in the marketplace right now. It creates stresses on us. When it creates stresses on us, we start behaving in a certain way. And what we forget is ourselves. And we forget about looking at who we are and how do we become the ideal leader that we want to be. So I created I guess, a technology around blind spots. So we have an assessment that we started helping people with to see what they don't see. Remember, blind spots are other people can see them. We just don't look in the mirror and see them ourselves. And once we start looking at ourselves to see, what do I need to do to shift and to be that better leader, to empower the teams, to work on incredible organizations, to grow them, and work with our customers in a different way. Once I started working with executives and teams around that, we saw a shift happen. So now my blind spot was I was enjoying this so much that I went through a life change 3 years ago, which was the separation divorce. And those hidden stresses created even deeper challenges for me, not knowing what they were. ended up having some health concerns. I ended up meeting Beata at the same time. And her way of approaching health and my way of doing health was two totally different ways. And when we started merging the two different things together, we realized self-awareness, wellness, self-care, compassion, communication, all are part of growing ourselves. Meaning, if we grow ourselves, our families are way better. We have a happier family at home. If we have a happier family at home, what happens to our customers? They're even happier. And majority of the times, what we end up doing is we start focusing on our customers and our teams because we're in this dire strait of having revenue coming in or paying the bills. And that's important. We got to keep the doors open, but that's not the biggest focus. And so we've learned to how do we start bringing balance into organizations? And that balance is everything. It's right down from health, wealth, finance, spiritual, physical environment. And once we put it all together, we start seeing this cog running really nice and smooth. Biggest challenge, Julian, is getting people to understand that that makes a difference. So when we get on stage, we talk about our personal experiences and why we've gone through what we've gone through, and then try and bring that into organizations.
The meeting seems to be serendipity. You just sometimes things just happen. A lot of folks get into the business of business, and it becomes a number crunching game and running by minutes and tracking every productivity cycle and try to get us how many tickets you've generated today in your business, how many you solved, when you solved, how long it took to solve, what's your special score with customers.
Mm-hmm.
We're running business by numbers, which unfortunately is the Wall Street way.
Yeah.
And the reality is that it's still people to people, right? People buy from people buy from people that they like, people don't buy from people that they don't like. And it's being a human, right? And I think somewhere along the line, people forget what it is to be human. And I always type to equivalent it to, you forget what it's like to be a kid when you came to the world with an open mind and you really don't know what's going on. Everybody is kind of nice, and you don't really know who an enemy is. And but you have to protect yourself, and you build with this. You build these barriers over time as an adult, and then you realize, well, maybe you've gone too far over, and you've built up so many walls that you can't even see out. People can't see in, but you can't see out.
Yeah.
And it's a great exercise to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you happy with who you are? And so, that's I think is one of those things to be self-aware. So in our world, I totally believe that we've lost a lot of soft skills in the world of IT. And it's not because we purposely did this. IT folks work so hard, so long, so many hours. They're constantly putting out fires. I mean, if there was, a description of a fireman's job, fireman goes to a fire, when there's a fire, and they do what they got to do to put out the fire. Seems like IT people are putting out fires 24/7, hours a day. And it used to be when you can enjoy the weekends, and they can't anymore because that's when the hackers wake up, right? 5 o'clock on Friday to Sundays when the hackers, wake up and start doing bad things. So it just seems like, working 60, 70, 80-hour days seems to be the new norm. And then you have to ask yourself, how long is that sustainable, right? How can you do better for yourself and for your team without taking a step back? And so we are very excited about helping, the channel community that we serve, how to think about these things and how to navigate, this. So let's just bring a few of those examples to play here. What are some of the things that you're going to be able to help give them, and we can maybe walk through two, three examples so we can kind of give them a kind of an idea of where we're headed with this?
Sure. Step back just a bit. So strategy really works. You said something about the MSP, the IT world runs around numbers, and it has to. We've got to pay the bills. We've got to understand where our KPIs are. It all makes sense. We have to do that. However, when we start implementing strategy without a mindset shift and just focus on that, we're hurting ourselves. And I used to do a lot of EOS implementations where I used to go into organizations, especially in the IT world, and sit there for 18 months and do this EOS implementation. And I'd leave, and all of a sudden it's back to normal. The mindset wasn't shifting. So I said to a couple of my clients, I said, listen, I love your money. I love working with you, but it's not working. We need to step back and understand, what is it that you're not doing for yourself? Because you just said 70 or 80 hours. We physically just can't do that. We just can't keep on doing that over and over again. In the early 2000s, I don't know if you know this, Julian, in the early 2000s, we had the highest rate of suicide and heart attacks in the IT world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Remember the Y2K craze? I think we lived through it. At that point, between 2001 and 2004, we had the highest rate of suicide.
Wow.
We're going back that way again. The mental health factor now, not the suicide, it's the mental health factors. And the executives that are dealing with this is because they're pushing themselves so hard to get things done. And what we're trying to push on our clients is step back and empower the person below you to take some of it on. So you can be healthier. And the moment you're healthier, that person takes it on. And now they're feeling elevated, and they'll take it down the step. And if we can start learning that, take care of ourselves. And how do we do that? Beata, you've got a great little the wheel of life in the 8 wellness. And maybe you're going to talk a little bit about that and see what that resonates here.
Yeah, so it was, oh my gosh, you guys covered so many topics and touched up on so many matters that actually influence our productivity, the perception of success. I mean, what is a success? We even discussed that with our leaders. What is it? What does it mean happiness to you? How do you justify the happiness? Like you also, Julian, were saying about the barriers. Is it because I have the barrier of because of my self-confidence, or where I come from, or how I was brought up, or what's my pattern? We like to be living in our comfortable zone. It might not be healthy to the other person, but it's comfortable to me. Mm-hmm. And imagine if you have multiple people in your team, and everyone comes from a different background, different upbringing, the environmental factors, spiritual factors, the drive, and everybody envisions the success differently. Well, now you have a great mix of or perhaps the wider ecosystem within your company, and how do you take it as a leader where you have to envision certain goals. And we tend to be very, very task oriented, like you said, Julian, very goal oriented. And in a technology environment and an IT world, it's all about, okay, not a task, not a goal. This is, and it's almost like you have future driven rather than looking into, okay, well, I could produce more outcome if the environment and conditioning of those people is better. So yes, we are looking into multiple sectors of environmental, the wellness, the physical, the as we stated, spiritual rather than religious, because that gives it, again, a different volatility in there. Also the career, the choice, all the choices we make in our life will determine the degree of inner happiness that inflicts into the environment we are around. And I love how Likky was saying that as about his leadership role as an IT person, what he recognized, that's how I met Likky, because he has recognized my leadership style was very much competitive style, which is the same like an IT world. I was just on a mission and looked on in the future, and I couldn't have my team and my practitioners to keep up with my vision because of my lack of communication skills, and I was not even aware of. So it's good to pause to see how we go about certain things and strategize, and really find the essence. Why are you actually here? Why are we doing what we're doing? The entire life is like actually experience. It's what you, when you were born to the time you go, is a pure experience, and what you do about it and how you can impact the world and humanity and your community will determine the degree of your happiness. So it's really within us, how we want to go about it, and that's what we try to awaken. And when we talk to the corporations, and we have ability to do that, in such a gentle way that people will find within organizations to almost recalibrate, self-correct, and then that unity of core values of our corporations, when it's identified, actually transpires through beautiful culture.
I like the word you use, awaken, because the reality is that we've all got it in us. We just put it to sleep, and you have to awaken it. Another thing as well that we all got to struggle with and figure out is how to get along in a multi-generational environment, because the younger folks think differently from older folks and all in between. And we even looking at content creation, right? Younger folks prefer less human touch points and more automated touch points. There is a great consumerization of business to business, where it's becoming automated. But don't misunderstand that for that you think that the younger generation don't want to hang out with people. This is not true. It's the opposite. They want to hang out, but they don't want to be just hanging out in business, right? They want to have quality time with their peers and so on. So maybe you can talk a bit about the multi-generational challenges. How is that impacting beyond waking up these really great life skills that we should all have?
Thanks, Julian. It's interesting. If I just simplify it, we're human beings. We want to be felt, heard, and valued. Mm. That's the core of all of us. And when we can acknowledge that we need to do that with any generation, life changes right away. The nice thing about the younger generation right now, they're shifting the older generation to say, balanced life is important to us. Mm-hmm. How are you going to bring this to us? It's no longer, I want to make X amount of dollars. It's more like, I'll take a little bit less pay if I get 4 weeks of vacation. Mm-hmm. And if I have a 3-day work week and I can work remotely. And when you start doing that, you start providing that solution for them, you'll see that generation work even harder than us and smarter. And it's allowing them to get empowered to do that. Julian, we go into organizations and we have leaders that are still, no, you've got to be in the office 9 to 5 and you've got to do it this way. And you got to put 40 hours a week. Where's the timesheet?
Some of those still exist. Yeah.
Oh, they do. Yeah. But then they also have the Friday afternoons tequila in the room as well. So, it works both ways. But however, that shift has to happen. We've got to start understanding that the more we empower teams, the more we empower people, it allows them to grow. However, when we go in and we ask the questions and we start looking at seeing the reasons why that's not happening, it's scarcity mindset, it's lack of trust. There's no vulnerability from leadership teams. They're not sure how to communicate. It's their way or the highway. And these are the blind spots that we're starting to recognize from people. As soon as they're willing to open up and hear it and see it, it changes. And it's just that gentle conversation about seeing that you do have a blind spot. I was in a course a couple of years ago, and our instructor asked me to ask my cohort a specific question about myself. And I was like, what do I ask? So I go to them. I said, what's your first impression of me when I walk into a room? And they kind of chuckled. They said, you really want to know? I said, yeah. They go, well, you show up as a pompous blank. I'm not sure if I can say that here, but they said,
you can.
They said pompous ass.
There you go.
And I kind of chuckle. I said, what do you mean by that? They go, well, when you walk in, you're all dressed up and you don't smile.
Mm.
And I go, interesting. Because I honestly, yeah, I may seem like an extrovert, but I'm a real introvert. I'm shy. And when I walk into a room, I'm trying to make eye contact with somebody I can recognize or at least make an eye contact. Then I feel, okay, now I can breathe and I can go in. So I'm walking in nervous. I'm not walking in as a pompous ass. Total different perception of people, right?
Mm.
So when I heard that, I've learned to smile more. I'm hoping I'm smiling more today. So I'm trying to do more of that. But how many of us actually want to know that? What do people really think
Well,
about
I want to know that. Beata, what's your first impression of me?
Great. You know what? Curious, creative, and also you love people. You like to interact, and you want to know something that you don't know. So the curiosity is definitely there, and I like that. And
I
you
thought I
open
was going to
minded.
get some bad stuff, like you're just a mean whatever. No, you know what? It's you guys are so right. I would say this to all MSPs, all businesses in general, but you know me, I'm just in the IT world, and I feel very uncomfortable advising people in any other industry because I have no clue what they do. I eat their food, I use their cars, I whatever, but I don't know anything about that world. So in our world, in the tech world, um, we're missing the skills. We're missing soft skills, and I think that it is time they put a pause in that button there and really think why they're doing what they're doing. We have this problem in IT where we're racing to the bottom. We're making everything easier, better, more efficient, more effective, etc. And then what happens? We drop the pricing. We keep dropping the pricing. We no longer sell in value. We no longer, not everybody, of course, they don't sell in value, they sell in price. And when you start doing this, you really are removing what your worth is, right? You're comparing it to others, right? And the minute you get into that slope, right, I think is just on the way down. And I think what you guys bring is a way to say, hold, stop. You don't have to go all the way down to the bottom to hit rock bottom before you get back up. You can slow down and rethink. And does that resonate with what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, well, Julian, what we're trying to do is the fact that not just allowing for people that are more analytical, data driven, and in IT world, that it's almost like you're becoming a robot and being transactional, but also allowing people to that the leadership and organization understand those type of people, what they need, how to communicate with them, how to give them constructive feedback, how to have active listening, but also educate them how to be with the other people, different styles, because that will be disabling the certain characteristics of or certain type of people to that corner, to the segment of certain behaviors, because that you won't be able to step aside and say what you want, what you need. So it's very important that educational part is how you create that ecosystem around you with the different styles, ecosystem of calibration of the needs and wants and desires, and it's done through the communication. And you have to create that. Organizations or institutions have to create a safe environment where those things transpires. So we help organizations to do that. We help them to create and assess their core values within the teams and within the organizations, and to find the gaps. And if there are any, how we make transition. We stay away from the word change, because who likes change? Nobody is comfortable with the change. But if you do it and say it such a way that you do it through
Awakening.
Right.
Awake the thing that's already been sleeping inside you. Look,
There's the secret protocol.
Yes, I'm all in this era. I think it's time that the channels start to live purposely and be happier. You know, I know success doesn't breed happiness. I know money doesn't buy happiness. Apparently, some people may think differently, but it's really, how you deal with people and how you deal in life. But look, the bottom line here is that we want to bring want people to take a pause and wake up a little bit and figure out, what they're doing to see if all this stuff makes sense for them and to see how they can, grow their grow differently, maybe being success differently. But I'd like to leave you guys with the last word. So, Beatrice, I'll start with you. What do you want channel partners to know about what you can do and help them with?
Allow yourself to feel different. Allow yourself to want to be creative, and persevere with your thoughts. Is why are you here? So when you start from you, then that will transpire toward the things that you're doing and you want to impact. Everyone wants to be meaningful in the world. Everybody wants to be having a reasons why you're here. So whatever you do, in whatever role you are in organizations, from the CEOs to top management to the employee, or just being a parent, just pause and start breathing. Is why I'm doing what I'm doing in the first place. Does this justify my happiness, and does it have an impact that I need? And that's what I would just say. And everything else is just is a journey.
Perfect. Likky, how do you wrap it up?
Beata, you're so kind in the way you say it. I'm just going to be direct and just say, find your bullshit that's in the way to stopping you from where you're going. And I've written a book called Death by BS for a reason. It stands for blind spots, or it's the BS that we have. It's
I really thought it was BS, but he has blind spots.
It is BS. It is BS. And I had to create both because I work with a lot of organizations that we can't say the proper BS in. But however, it is the BS that's stopping us from being who we are, and understanding what that really is and letting go of it is huge. Like, it's been a growing journey for myself in the last 10 years to understand what my own BS was. And then being able to release that, it is so refreshing. So refreshing to be vulnerable and real, to build trust, to build community. That's incredible now. And I've met people like Beata, and the community that we're building is people that want to grow and do this. And then we're seeing our teams and the people that we work with thrive because of that. Why hold that BS in there? Because all you're doing at that point is hurting yourself. Let it go.
There you go.
So really, Julian,
go ahead.
so it's just the last thought. If you really want to grow the organization with a new 2030 in your mind, you want to talk to us. We might just have a ways and means to help you, and I challenge you with that.
There you go. And I know a little bit of secrets about you guys. I know, you've been able to help also Likky with some reducing his blood pressure, reducing some of medicines. You never know what happens, when you get stressed out. Many things happen. And so there's a lot more to come. This is day one. And, expect to see these folks at our events and helping you to understand how they can do it. And I would encourage you to reach out to them and ask them, how can they help? And listen a little bit, be a little bit open mind, get out of your comfort zone for a little bit. And maybe you don't want to go back to where you were before. So awaken those special things that we all know is inside you. Yeah. We're going to drop the website's address, but is there a particular way they could reach you? Obviously LinkedIn, but is there a website that they can reach you at, Likky?
Yeah, I put in our chat window here. If they just go to LikkyLavji.com, so LIKKYLAVJI.com, right in there, there's a blind spot assessment. It's a free assessment. Take it. And then reach out to us. And it's interesting. The reason we created that was because it would take 3 or 4 sessions of executive coaching for me to open up and say, hey, Julian, I see some blind spots. But now we have a 4-minute assessment that tells you right away. It's not intrusive.
Perfect. Great. And you get a freebie to start. There you go, my friends. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing what you guys are doing more. So congratulations and thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Julian.